Hey everyone, Keenan Gray here from DyeStat.com, bringing you another edition of DyeStat Discussions. Still trying to process what happened this weekend all across the country, whether it was Nike Outdoor Nationals and New Balance Nationals Outdoor. Arguably, the probably the best thing that happened was over in Philadelphia from Natalie Dumas completing an unprecedented triple, winning not only the 400 flat, the 400 hurdles, and the 800. So she is our guest this week on DyeStat Discussions. So Natalie, I gonna start off with an easy one. How's it going? How have things been the last couple days?
I mean, it's great. Legs are definitely sore. I have a few cuts that I'm trying to still heal, and it's been a lot trying to process it all.
Yeah. So let's just talk about, initially from the start, the weekend and how what really kind of just transpired. I mean, one of the most unprecedented triples I've said, in high school history. What did you kind of like see from that and what's truly possible?
Honestly, I didn't even know that my body could do this, and now I honestly just think that there's so many things out there for me that I can do. I'm people are coming up to me and asking, "Oh, what's your main event?" I don't even know myself. I couldn't even tell you myself what my main event is now. I mean, it's been one heck of a trip throughout all of this. I've been taking my friends with me and we've just been having a great time. I mean, I can't even tell you what my main event is anymore.
Well, I think people can kind of, guess as to, but based on what they saw from all three events. I mean, in all three events, they were not easy to win by any stretch. I think the combination of time in between how much you won was like 0.2 seconds between all three events.
Yeah.
Can you just describe, just the adrenaline and, the drive to, it seems like you do not want to lose even when it's all said and done. Like you just don't want to lose.
Yeah, so I actually the first race was the 400 hurdles, and I ran that. And at the end, I did see Sydney Sutton, and I knew what was about to go down. I knew it was going to be finished a fight to the end. So I went out there. I did everything I could, and at the end of my race, I just dug a little bit deeper. And at the end of all three of my races, I had a small little kick at the end that boosted me to the finish line before everyone else. And I told myself in that moment I am not going to lose. I will not lose this. So I need to finish as hard as I can. And that's kind of just what pushed me. I just told myself I'm not going to lose in race. I told myself that. And that's what got me there.
Well, we'll break down those three races and talk about them in just a few moments. But let's learn about yourself a little bit. Of course, born and raised in New Jersey. Tell me what the childhood was like growing up in for you and your household.
I mean, it's great. Two sisters. They're great. They both run track. We all three of us did soccer. That was our main sport.
Mhm.
And then we started transition to track when high school. I started track when I was a freshman, and my sister was honestly someone that I was looking up to because she was just a great runner. And my younger sister, she's a freshman now, so I run with her now. I'm the only sister that got to run with both of them, so it's nice to be the middle one. She runs at University of Delaware now. She runs there. Her main event's the 800, but I think what strives me to be such an amazing athlete is my older sister. She ran really fast, and to be on the team with her, I had to run those fast times with her because if I didn't run, I want to say it was like a 58. I had to run a 58 by freshman year to be on the 4x4 with her. And that's kind of what pushed me to be a better runner because I was like, if I don't run 58, I can't run with my sister. So that's what made me get down to that faster and high level times. And it was just like, it was great running with her.
Your parents also ran track too. They ran at the school in New Jersey. What were they like as athletes growing up?
They were both All Americans. My dad did soccer and track in college, but my mom just did track. They both had school records for the College of New Jersey, but I think they're all taken down now.
Yeah. What were their events?
My dad was a 100, 200, 400, and then my mom was like a 400 hurdle, 400, and like 200 runner.
Yeah. So the speed's always been there, but you kind of picked on this this middle distance, if you will, if we're be honest here, like the 800 is becoming more of a sprint event day by day, it
Yeah.
seems like. But it seems like the 800 was influenced by your older sister, right?
Mhm. Yeah, she does the 800, and then this year recently I actually got into cross country and I've been running 5Ks and stuff like that. The reason why I picked up the 800 is because my sister was the 800 runner for our SMR team. The SMR is
Mhm.
2248, and
Mhm.
she was a senior my freshman year, so she left. So someone had to pick up the 800 when I was a sophomore, and that of course ended up being me because I was the second best on the team. So I picked up the 800, started getting better. I think my indoor PR was a 216, and then I think my outdoor was 210 last year. So it's been a big change this year, but I just had to pick that up for my team to run with them.
So you mentioned the very first time that you ran track was your freshman year of high school.
Mhm.
So throughout, leading up to high school, it sounds like soccer was your main sport. What position were you in soccer?
I am actually all over the place. So I would mainly play defense. I was a center mid. Um, and I was also a striker. So I had so much speed, obviously. So they would normally put me on defense to defend back there, and then offense to just kick the ball up to me and then sprint it down.
Yeah. So then the influence to go run track, of course, by your older sister, but what led you to decide that yourself?
I love to stay active. I feel like most athletes join track to stay in shape for another sport and end up loving track. So that's kind of just what happened for me.
Yeah. When you ran your first track meet, do you remember it and what you did?
I ran my first ever track meet in 8th grade. I don't remember my times. I think I ran like a 62 somewhere. Um, I ran like I don't remember, but I know my freshman year, my first times were horrific. I ran a 61. I ran a 240 something in the 800, and my 200 was like a 27.
And with now you have those times to work with. What did your coaches kind of tell you afterwards in that first meet you had?
I mean, They weren't they weren't going crazy obviously because the times weren't great, but they were like,
Mm.
"Okay, we know what your weakness is now. Let's get that and let's fix it. Let's fix your endurance. You need to do more endurance workouts because I ran a 61, so I had that speed there, but I just ran a 240, so I needed to learn. A lot of it was just not knowing how to run an 800 because the 800 is kind of a mind game and just pacing out. So my freshman year, it was a little confusing for me at first.
Well, and also you're running on an indoor track for the very first time, and that in itself is much harder than having to do on the outdoor track. So not only are you going into a sport for the very first time, you're doing a sport that not a lot of people do as a whole. Especially like on the West Coast, Midwest, like there's just not a lot of indoor track opportunities. So, did you think when you were doing indoor track like this was like a norm? Like when you go to the outdoor scene, like oh, I'm gonna have to run on another 200-meter track.
Yeah, so I we practice on the 400-meter track normally, so I knew the difference. But when I ran that 800, I was like 4 laps. I was like, what the heck? And like I do the mile now, and I'm just like, how many laps is that? So it's a lot, but I think it takes a little bit of time adjusting, and I definitely don't really like the 200-meter track. That's not my favorite, and I'm just excited to get rid of that. Not have to run on the 200-meter track anymore. It was a little bit of adjustment, but I ended up figuring it out.
When you end up running 57 seconds at the end of that indoor season, I mean, to you, like, what did you kind of take away from that freshman season? Moving forward to the outdoor scene.
I mean, I was just so excited because I placed ninth, I think it was at the Meet of Champs. The Meet of Champs is like our entire state meet. So I was just excited, and I was excited to have one more season with my sister outdoor. I mean, it was it was great, and my times were just amazing. So I was just striving for more PRs.
Remember having conversations with your sister after the indoor season, kind of, comparing and contrasting what she did her freshman year compared to what you did?
Yeah, so she would always push me, and we didn't talk too much or compare each other's times. We were kind of just like, "Oh, you did this, like, great job." Like, we were just excited to see each other race. And I remember telling all my friends, this is always what I would say. I would always be like, "All I ever do in workouts is look at the back of my sister's head. That's all I ever saw is the back of her head every single time." And I was just like tired of it, but then I was also grateful to be able to run with her.
You run faster than your sister did her freshman year.
Yeah, I did. I don't remember her times. It was rough for her because it was during COVID, so
Mhm.
she had the COVID years, and it was a little of a mess. But yeah.
But do you remind her sometimes? It's like, hey,
Oh,
I was
sorry.
faster than you.
Yeah. Um. Not really. I try and keep my records a secret, and she ends up finding them out herself, and she's like, "Good job, little bro," and I'm just laughing, and I'm like, "Can't with you."
You always gotta like sibling rivalry though, and that's what really pushes you guys to your absolute limit. But once you hit the outdoor scene, that's the very first time you discovered the 400 hurdles. Well, if you didn't like running multiple laps around the indoor track, I don't know how you would like running over hurdles at all. So, what came about that? What led you to decide to run? I want to do the 400 hurdles.
So my coach, Coach Jackson, he is huge on hurdles. Doesn't matter what hurdle. It'll be 55 hurdles, it'll be 100-meter hurdles or 400 hurdles. He'll look at an athlete and be like, "You're running the hurdles." And almost every girl on our team has tried hurdles before, and he doesn't force us to do it, but he gives us the option early on. So he gave me the option my freshman year, and I did it. And that's kind of what led me into it. So he just it's kind of nice because he forces all not forces, but he makes all of the girls try it before they say no. So they don't join later in the season like junior year and it's too late for them to get good times. So that's kind of what pushed me to do it. He told me, "Okay, we're going to try this. If you don't like it, you don't have to keep doing it." So I tried it. I loved it and I kept doing it. And then a few of my friends also tried, but they ended up not liking it as much, so they did like eventually just run like 400s. So, I mean, I do appreciate that as um like my coach. Like I just appreciate that and him being able to get me into hurdles.
Did you love the event the first time you ran it in an outdoor scene?
I mean, it was great. Like I ran it the first ever time in a dual meet. It was a 300 and it was a lot of fun. And then I took on the 400 hurdles and I was like, "Oh my, I think I ran a 112 or something like that." I was like, it was rough, but I was like, I was striving to get better in it and I knew I could run better than that. It was a cold day, windy. It was the worst conditions and I just knew when I ran the race I was like, this is my event.
You managed to get your time down, and I know you said like you thought you ran 72. It's actually 69:47. You ran your very first 400 hurdles race, but you were able to get it down to 62:49 by the meet of champions. For you, what were the biggest things you really focused on? To shave off almost 7 seconds.
Yeah, I mean honestly, so the biggest thing that I struggled with was the endurance again. It was the speed endurance trying to get over all of those hurdles. So I worked on that. I did a lot more distance, and then it was also my form. I was jumping over the hurdles like they were boys' hurdles. Like the height that I would get over them, we had to fix it, and we ended up fixing it, and it my form got a lot better. It's still not perfect to this day, and that's something I do need to work on, but it eventually got better.
When did you realize you were jumping over the boys' hurdles?
I mean, it was just the height. Like I was like this was my hurdle and I was up here and I'm like, what am I doing right now? And it was just my body just trying to get over the hurdles and just like power through everything and I was like, all right, let me actually try and think this out and get over them correctly.
I assume it felt much easier when you actually lowered it 3 more inches.
Yeah, 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 it did.
I could only so like when did you realize it? Like, was it just someone told you, Natalie, like the hurdle's a little bit too high than it needs to be?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I just like once it was lowered, I was like, okay, this is definitely my height. Yeah.
So the season concludes. You get an idea. You have some like you have barriers. You have marks you've already set from the outdoor season. What did you feel like, coming out of that that 2023 season and kind of, building upon that going, into the summer training? I mean, you had to wait, a few months until the indoor season started up again.
Yeah, so I was still doing soccer by then. I did soccer and it was rough doing soccer because of the injuries you can get and my body was just really beat up from it. I would constantly have bruises, so it was a long season. And I was just my last split, it was a 4x4 at the meet of champs again, and it was 55. And I was just so excited to get back out there and run faster. And I feel like every single time my season's off on a to be continued. And that's what it felt like my freshman year, my sophomore year, and even this year. Like, I know I can run faster every single time I run. And it's just like not upsetting to me, but it's just like I am urging to get back out there and run better times. And that's what it was. My sophomore year, I was urging to get back out there and show the world what I could do.
What kind of goals did you have for yourself your sophomore year?
My goal was kind of just I wanted a meet of champs title. So it was like it was just a state title for us. I wanted a state title and because I placed ninth indoor and then third outdoor my freshman year. And my sophomore year was to go out there and just place in an event. Um, I don't remember if I did get one indoor or not, but I know for a fact I got it was 3 outdoor, and I was just so extremely excited to get that.
Well, I'm looking at your athletic profile right here. So did you qualify for your meet of champions your sophomore year? Because I'm not seeing the meet of champions on here.
Yeah, I did qualify my sophomore year.
Okay, so you win the hurdles, at least the 400 hurdles. You get second in the 400. And then that looks like those were the only two individuals events you did. So you first of all, you met your goal of winning at least one state title. Were you satisfied though with how that outdoor outcome went?
Yeah, I also we won the 4x4, but it doesn't show 4x4s on there, so that was another title I got. I was so satisfied, but then at the same time I was just a little annoyed because I finished my 400 and I was like I can run faster than that. I knew I could run faster than that. And that was my last 400 of the season because last year I was like too scared to do too many events at New Balance. So I only did the 400 hurdles as an individual. And I did a few relays. I forget how many though.
The sophomore year was also the first time you had broken 60 seconds in the
Yeah.
400 hurdles, which was at looks like an elite meet back in early
Yeah.
May of last year. Tell me what that moment was like running 59.80, and it's like, all right, now we got a barrier we've broken for the first time.
Yeah. I mean, I was in shock and 1,000 articles came out and I'm just reading everything and in like disbelief of all of it. And I was just so grateful then. And I didn't even know what it was what was about to happen for me. Like I didn't realize that I was going to go down this path of just getting better and better and better. Like I didn't know I was going to be here today and winning 3 national titles. Like I just I don't even know. I just was when I got off the track, I was just so excited. I was like, oh, I want to go and run in college. Like, I didn't have any scholarships or offers or anything from anyone. And I was just like, I was starting to think maybe I could do that now. Maybe I could go and run in college.
Do you remember what that race was like when you ran the 59.80?
Yeah, I do. It's a little rough. So I ran against a girl named Sophia Curtis. She was an insane runner, and my freshman year, I lost to her at that same exact meet. So I was coming out ready to fight for the title again. So this was the same meet as last year, but it was a little bit different because I had stronger form, I had stronger everything. So we fought to the line. Like I don't even remember. I think her time was like a 60 flat or something like that. So we literally fall to the line, and I go over the first 200 of the hurdles, and I'm like, okay, I know I could do this. And then the second 200, it's just me and her battling till the end. And I remember just having that last little kick at the end and beating her.
Was that kind of the first time, in an instance where you truly believed that your kick could win a race, or have there been other races?
Yeah, so I didn't realize my kick until the meet of champs my sophomore year. It was in the 400. I ran a 53:16, and that I did that, and the last 100 meters I started speeding up, and everyone from my sight just disappeared, and I'm like, it was like a runner's high. I don't even know what happened, but I just started speeding up, and I was just in pure shock. I was like, what are my legs doing right now? Like, I thought I was tired, and I just thought I was drained, but that was the first ever time I did it, and I just went out and I was just flying through everything, and I was like, I think I can run faster than this.
Did your coaches and parents, like, was that their first time realizing, oh wow, this was something we've never seen from her before?
Yeah, they were in complete shock because I was running 54s before that, and a 53 is a big mark for all athletes. I mean, 54 is still a big time for everyone, but
Mhm.
it's like on the verge where it's like, oh, that's a good time, but like 53 is insane. That's insane to me, and everyone was just in pure shock that I ran that.
Yeah. Well, then, as you mentioned, the 400 hurdles were the only individual event that you did at New Balance Nationals, which was your first opportunity to race at New Balance Nationals. I think any nationals for that matter. Um, what was kind of your mindset? Like, were you just excited for the opportunity to be there, or were you like, no, I want to go take care of some business and do something good here?
It was my first time, first experience, so I was like, well, I'm gonna go out here, try it, see what's up. I didn't expect to win anything. I didn't expect to win the national title. I just expected to go out there and have fun. So I there was a girl and her time was 56 and she dropped out last minute. I didn't even know until I was on the track looking in front of me and saw an empty lane. And I was like, why isn't she here? And then like, I had no idea. She was one of the girls faster than me, and then there was another one. She had a 300 hurdle time, converted it into a 400 hurdle time, so she was like a 57, and then I was a 58, and I was like, "Okay, well, let me go out here and see what I can do." And I went over the first hurdle with the wrong leg already. So I go over the hurdle with the wrong leg and I'm like, what am I doing? So, and then I go over the next hurdle and it's the wrong leg again and again and again. And I couldn't fix it because you're in a rhythm at that point. So you can't fix it. You just have to keep going until your leg like naturally switches back. Cause I could have stuttered, but then it would have messed up my time even more. So I just ended up going over the hurdles with my opposite leg, and I finally switched to the right leg, and it's like too late to do anything now because I've already finished like most of my race. So I run through the line and I won. I was in pure shock, and I was just like, I did that with my opposite leg, and I never expected that. I got to the podium, and they said that the girl that ran 56, she had too many events that day, so she ended up dropping the 400 hurdles.
So, and I'm no hurdle expert by any means, but what when you what's your dominant leg? Is it because I don't know if it because depending on like if you write or like you throw with something, is that what's the first leg you usually go with?
So normally your dominant leg is so my dominant leg is my left one. That's the one that goes over the hurdle first, and then that
Mhm.
right one snaps back. So my left leg is the one that goes over, and normally, so this is like more soccerish, but
Mhm.
normally the foot you plant with is the foot that is your dominant leg. So like the foot I planted with is my left leg. So like for most runners, their leg is their dominant leg is the left leg because the right leg is doing most of the work. The left leg's just going over and jumping, and then the right leg is going over the hurdle, like, and trying to like scrunch in, I guess, and get over the hurdle and then push down really hard. So your right leg is doing more of the work than your left leg is.
So half of that race, then your trail leg was your left leg, and your right leg was the one that was leading it the
Yeah,
entire time.
yeah.
So, I mean, and I'm a math guy. I like to do, conversions, all that stuff. How many seconds do you think you took off just because quote unquote, screwed up at the beginning?
I mean, I think I could have ran 57 that day if I did use my left leg as my lead leg. I definitely could have ran 57 because I ran 58.3. And I was a little like iffy when I went over with my opposite leg, but I kind of just had to persevere through it. So I just kept going and I ended up PRing that day, so I wasn't even mad.
Oh, and you came away with the national championship too. I mean, again, were you in disbelief just kind of like this last weekend, or was it kind of like, like now I know what my capabilities are as an athlete and I can really be on this, this national stage?
Yeah, I was in disbelief. Like that's when I first started going. Like everyone was like texting me and blowing me up, and I just had so many people texting me. And I would go into track meets this year, and then they'd be like, "Hey, didn't you win New Balance?" And people started recognizing me, so it was a whole different like perspective, I guess. And I came out this year just ready because I mean, winning a national title is amazing. It's like people see you so differently. Everyone recognizes you and sometimes people are even scared to run against me.
How did you, so going into the summer, as you said, people were like reaching out to you saying congratulations, like, all right, Natalie Dumas is now the face of, the 400 hurdles in the state of New Jersey and potentially on the national stage. But how did you handle all that yourself? And, were you okay with with having the spotlight? Were you not? Because, some people handle it differently.
Mhm. I love the spotlight. It was great. It wasn't crazy big because people didn't really recognize my name at first. This was my first title. And your first title, normally people don't know you and you start to get a build up. But then as you get more titles, people start to recognize you even more. And that's kind of what happened. So people didn't notice a lot when I did that, but like a few did. So it was, it was new for me and sometimes I'd be like walking around and I would get recognized at like the mall and stuff. I'd be like, "Oh, hey." And some people just like notice me randomly.
So do you continue to still play soccer or have you already, like, you're done with that now?
I still do soccer. I do a little bit, not too often. I think it's going to start to come to an end this year because we've looked at my times like everyone knows my times now. So it's like I am just trying to keep it safe now.
Because that's the one thing I first thought of, even after your sophomore season, it's like, all right, like, in this day and age of people, trying to specialize in a lot of sports, because I was a multi-sport athlete in high school. I did basketball, I ran track and cross country, and I tried to do all three of those. But when you get to a point where you're so good at a certain sport that you kind of have to, let things go. I mean, did that kind of start to creep in, especially after your sophomore season? It's like, all right, I might have to get rid of soccer now.
Yeah, so I used to even play basketball. I had to get rid of basketball because it interfered with winter track. So I played basketball my eighth grade year, and then I was going to do it freshman year, but then they were like, well, you have winter track. So I ended up quitting basketball, doing winter track, and then soccer. I did it freshman year, sophomore year, junior year. My one teammate, she's a senior now. She just graduated. She convinced me to do cross country with her. I don't know how, but
Mhm.
she convinced me it was a safer option. And I was like, it sucks. I've been playing this for all my life, but I have to do what's going to keep me safe. So I chose cross country, and she ended up in the first 2 weeks getting shin splints and leaving me to run by myself. So I had to do the season alone, and I was like,
So she
I can't
tricked
believe
you.
you did this. Yeah.
She tricked you into doing something you didn't want to.
Yeah, and then I got two teammates two soccer teammates this year, and they're going to be doing cross country. So I tricked them into doing it, and um, I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's their senior year, so I don't have to convince them for another season. They just have to suffer through this one, and then that's it for them.
That's a good friend right there. Put them through the misery that you have to go through when it comes
Yeah.
to, running 3Ks, 4Ks, 5Ks, 3 miles, whatever that is. What was that cross country season like for you this past fall?
Oh my gosh, it was definitely a battle. It was a literal battle. I have the worst immune system, so I think every single time I ran, I was sick. Like, I literally was sick constantly, and the endurance was great. All of the running was great. I had a great community and great teammates, and just I had the best people to do it with. So I was just so grateful for everyone that was doing it, and I think the reason why I loved it so much is because of everyone I had. It was the running obviously wasn't the most fun because it was running is hard in general for me, like longer distances because I start to get bored. So I was doing 5Ks and it was just boring. So at the end of every single workout, I would sprint, and that's where I started developing my kick actually, is where I would do like a rep, a rep, a rep, and then the last one I would do it extremely hard. And everyone's like, "Where do you get this kick from?" And I'm like, "I just want to be done." That's where I get the kick from. So
I think that's how a lot of people, even that run cross country for just like their distance runners, they're like, I just want to get this done. Like some people who love running the mile and track don't necessarily love running the 5K at all in track and cross country.
yeah, I mean it's a different battle, and I mean it was fun, um, but I don't know if I could ever like do it as a serious sport. Like I give credit to the people who do it because I mean it's really hard. It will drain you, and I there's meet a champs for cross country, and I remember that day I was so extremely sick. I ran my race with cough drops in my mouth. Like I literally the gun went off and there was cough drops in my mouth, and I had them like in my uniform. I tucked them in my uniform so when I ran out I would open another one and put it in my mouth and keep running. So I did that, and I cuz I just wanted to do it for my team, and I ended up placing 31st, and the top 30 girls move on to the meet of champs. So I was 31st, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" But I also think it was a sign to stop running because I was sick every single race and I needed to heal.
There was a part of you that was like, dang it, I missed it, but also, oh no, I missed it. Like, oh, I have to end my cross
Yeah.
country season now.
Yeah.
What a shame.
Yeah,
Though.
that was
But you
definitely
you
me.
but you definitely mentioned the fact though that the endurance piece was something that you needed to work on when it came to the 400 and the 400 hurdles. And I got to imagine just running cross country alone, whether it was a fast time or not, like you got endurance from
Mhm. I definitely did. I mean, I had so much endurance. I started picking up the mile. I think I don't even know what my first ever mile time was, but I just started getting faster and faster because my endurance helped me so much. It was great, and I think I'm gonna do the same thing again this season, but a little bit less, like a little lighter of a season.
it. So during the indoor season, obviously times are dropping, but like, did you notice a difference between, when you're running these particular times compared to what it was last year because you had picked up this new endurance?
Yeah, so I was when I was a freshman, I was like I was like I didn't know what it was like to run distance like that. So because I was when I was in 8th grade I had COVID, so I literally ate whatever I wanted and it was really bad. But I ended up finally hitting the track, and it was just a lot. And then I finally got the endurance through my sophomore year, and I felt like I could do anything, honestly. Like I started running and picking up speed, and it was just I went to the gym a little bit, not too often. I really need to work on
Mhm.
that still, but I mean, the endurance changed me a lot, and that's the reason why I run like this today.
I mean, by the end of the indoor season, you had run, 53 seconds in the 400. It's crazy to think, at the beginning of the 800, you were running, 211, you drop it down to 207. And I know you mentioned that you didn't know what you ran for a 16. You ran 505. So your versatility is just like all over the place when it comes to these events. I mean, did you get a sense of like, all right, like let's try to, widen our horizons come this outdoor season. Let's try to do as many events as we can and try to see what we can accomplish with them.
Yeah, it was pretty cool seeing all of the different events I could do, and I just wanted to keep adding on to it. So I started picking up the 100, and then I did the mile once. I'd love to do it again, only because I know I could run faster than that. But it's just when you run a mile, so like I've only ran it 2 times. I haven't run it enough. When you run it not that often, it's hard to figure out how to pace yourself because you don't get a lot of chances at it. You don't get a lot of shots. So that was like my first outdoor time ever running it, and that was just like I didn't know how to pace myself or do anything. So it's really hard, and my friends always ask me the question, and they're like, I don't know how you run these races because you only get one shot to get a good time, and then you kind of like don't ever run it again. And I was just like, I don't even know myself. You have to have that mindset where one shot and that's it. Like you don't know when you're gonna get to run this again, so put everything you have on the line, and that's kind of what I did.
Throughout the season, I'm just looking, when you kind of first started, it looked like April, then it looked like, kind of had like a month like to really do nothing. Or maybe that was just by choice and you didn't want to necessarily, race a ton, but May 17th at the sectional race, you run 51:87, you tie Sydney McLaughlin-Ravoni's state record. Tell me about what that day was like and, just what kind of really unfolded for you.
Yeah. So, well, speaking back to when you said I had a little bit of a gap, I did cross country winter and spring. So I did want to put a little break in between so I wasn't wearing myself down throughout the season. But when I ran 51, I think so. My mom fell on the ground. She was crying. My whole family was literally bawling their eyes out because I had tied the record and I didn't even know myself. I was so excited, but at the same time, I was like, I couldn't run like a little bit faster. Like, how do you even tie the record? I was in pure shock. I was like, this doesn't even make sense to me. Like, I've never seen a runner like tie like that. And I mean, I was just like, I can run faster than that, and I know I can get that record, but it's really gonna take a good meet to do it because it's it's not easy when you have to try and break that record by yourself. So it was nice having I had Siani win. She pulled me out the first 200 meters and she was moving, and then I just had that kick at the end, the last 100 where I finished everything, and that's just it was just my kick that came in handy.
With that, to kind of go along those lines, obviously Sidney McLaughlin-Ravoni, one of the most impactful athletes in the state of New Jersey. I mean, did like when did that kind of come to terms? It's like, wow, like my name is in the same exact sentence as an Olympic gold medalist and world record holder.
Yeah, I mean, I was in shock and I was extremely grateful for it. A few people were like, well, Cindy McLaughlin was focusing on hurdles and she wasn't really focused on the 400. So I did have a little mixed emotions because of the things that people were throwing around. But overall, I mean, I was just so grateful to run that time. And I was like,
Mhm.
all I was thinking about was I want to keep going and I want to keep getting faster.
Yeah. When you want to also just be Natalie Dumas, you
Yeah.
don't want to be, the next Sydney
Yeah.
McLaughlin-Ravoni. Not that, that's a bad thing by any
Yeah.
means. Like you just want to be your own person is what I really got a sense of, after the conversations that you and I had at New Balance this past weekend. But you make the decision as you get through, your group championships, your classifications, or however you guys, say it in New Jersey, and you make the decision, you know what? I'm going to do the 400 hurdles and the 800 at the Meet of Champions, just because. Why? And how did that idea come about?
So this would have never happened at all. What happened was the meet before, you need to qualify to the meet of champions. So there's a 2 round qualification. So you have your first meet, your second meet, and then the meet of champs. You have to get through 2 meets to get to the meet of champs. The second
Mm,
meet, my 4x4 team dropped the baton and we got
mm,
eliminated and we got out of the meet of champions. So that left me with the decision of what am I going to run now? Because I was supposed to
mm,
do the 400 hurdles, the 400, and the 4x4. I was never supposed to do the
mhm.
800. And I felt terrible for them. 2 of my seniors didn't get to run, but I was just like, well, now it's my decision. Now I have to figure this out. I qualified for the 200, the 400, the 400 hurdles, and the 800. I had to choose between the 2 and the 8. I knew I had no chance of winning the 200 only because that field is extremely stacked. So I chose the 800 and I was like, well, the 800 is the last event of the 3 of them. So whatever happens, happens. Like I already am running the 400 hurdles, the 400, so let's throw in the 800 and see what I can do. And I threw it in and I mean, I didn't even know any of this would happen.
You know, what would be really hilarious is if you actually ran the 1600 at the your qualifier, and then that would have made up for the entire
Yeah.
mile. Not that you guys would have, ran under 4 minutes. I mean, God, if you're running under 4 minutes before Faith Kippigan tries to do that this week in Paris, we're having a different conversation, of course.
Yeah.
So, but when you came to terms, you're like, all right, I'm going to do those events. I mean, for yourself, what was kind of your goal? Like, were you just like, all right, I'm just going to go try to score as many points as possible, and you know, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, my what I went out there, ran 400 hurdles. So I was conserving for the 800. I knew that that was going to be my hardest field. We had I want to say it was 204, 203s, 206, and I was just like this is going to be a pure battle. So I went out there, I ran you can see in the stats, they're not the strongest times, but they're times to get me through to first place so I can conserve my energy for the 800. I didn't I didn't really care what other people saw. um, I was going for place, not for time. So people might have been like, "Oh, that's not the best race for her." Well, it wasn't supposed to be my best race. I was strategizing for the 800. So I ran the 400 hurdles in a 60. Wasn't my strongest race, but I didn't need it to be. I just needed to get through the line and win. I ran my 400 in 53:16, the same exact time I won last year with, which was funny to me. And um, I knew I could run 51, so I'm not trying to prove to anyone that my time's fast. So all I needed was a 53. And then I was like sitting in a shed that so it was at the high school Pennsauken, and the Pennsauken coach comes up to me and says, "Here, we'll give you a shed to sit in," because it was flaming hot that day. So I'm in the shed and I'm sitting there and I have like 30 minutes until the 800, maybe less. And 30 minutes sounds it's a decent amount of time. It's a juggle up in the air, I guess, but it was just over. It was like a minute. It didn't feel like that long at all. I'm in the shed and I'm just regretting everything. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I can't believe I'm doing this. And I'm just sitting there. But I think I had the perfect amount of time to where I had enough rest but also like it was a short enough rest so none of the lactic like hit me in time. So it was like a perfect like in between. So I am starting to psych myself out and I'm like, I don't know if I could do this. Like I've already done 2 today. I don't know if I could do the third one. And I put all my stuff up on, put my gear on, and I'm on the track, and I'm just like sitting there watching the other heats of the 800 because we had quite a few that day. We had other 800s going, and um I literally started crying because I had so much stress. It was so stressful. I was crying, and then my teammates and my family, my dad was like, "Do you want to drop out? Like, you don't have to run this because it just takes so much off of you mentally." And I was like, "No, like, I can't back out now. I am not one to back out of races like this. I don't like to back out of races. Like, you'll never see me doing that." So I'm on the line, and I'm sitting there and I'm just like, if anyone false starts, I'm walking off because I can't take the stress of being on the line 2 times in a row. And luckily, no one false started and no one did anything. And the gun blows, and I'm just running. And I think, yeah, it was 2 girls were ahead of me. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, okay, do not let them get far away from me. If they get too far, then it's going to be over for me. And we're running and I'm just like, I can't sit here. I got bored again. And I always get bored in 800. It's really bad. And I was like, I can't sit here. I need to go now. At the 500 mark, I start my kick. And my entire family is like, what is this girl? Like, what the hell is she doing? She's starting a kick at the 500 mark. And I was like, yeah, I need to go. And I just went and I started at the 500. I blow through the line, the bell starts ringing, and I just leave everything behind me. And I'm like, well, I've started my kick. I cannot go back now, or else she will beat me. And I start going, and I go all the way around, and I just finish through the line. And I was so happy, and I was like, where is my bed?
Well, you also beat a very, very good Clemmy Lilly. You
Yeah.
beat Reagan Moore in that race. And not to mention the fact you dropped 5 seconds off of what you ran during the indoor season. Had you probably not made that kick, with 500 meters to go, I mean, I myself was probably be like your parents, be like, yeah, what the hell is she doing? But that would have not delivered you the lifetime best. So you get the triple. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing, blah, blah, blah. Like, this has never happened before. Well, a couple weeks later, you're like, yeah, let's do it again. Let's try this again, but a national championship, and then to add on with the SMR 800 as well. What kind of conversations did you have? I mean, was that something that you're like, you know what, I want to try this? And, again, like, if I win, great. If I don't, all right, well, at least I gave my best.
Yeah. So I signed up for all those events before I did the first ever triple. So
Sure.
I was like, well, I still want to run all of these. And I didn't even know that I was going to hit that first triple before. So I was kind of just like, okay, let me just go in all of them. It's going to be a long weekend, but I just want a PR. I want personal best. I don't care what anyone else does. So I like go into the weekend and I'm just trying to mentally prepare myself for this. It was the longest, most stressful weekend of my life. And the first four, I think it was 400 hurdles, I'm psyching myself out because me and Sydney saw him literally basically at the same exact time. So I know it's going to be like a line dip at the end. And we're I just all before my races, I'm always trying not to psych myself out. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to tell myself, Natalie, you will win this, you will win this, you will win this. And I've never said this to myself before. I never say that to myself, but I saw people doing it. So I was like, okay, let me try and tell myself that I'm going to do that. So I go and I'm like, Natalie, you will win this. And that's what I said to myself. I go out and um I'm like waiting for the other 400 hurdles to get done and I'm just laying flat on the ground and my mom's like, is she sleeping or is she awake? I was just laying on the ground and I was like, I like get up and my mom's like, okay, she's alive. So I go and they call out my name and I try and get my blocks ready. They're rushing us. They were rushing us all meet. Like it was really stressful because they were like, all right, set your blocks, let's go. And my fingers, they literally yelled at me because my fingers were on the line and I was like, if I get DQ'd for that small of a reason, that'd be insane. So the gun blows and I'm just like, I need to go. And I forget if Sydney was in front of me or behind me. Oh, she was in front of me. So she's in front of me, and I'm just like, all right, I need to catch her. I need to go and catch her. So I start running, and I was having a little bit of a struggle because I don't use blocks for my 400 hurdles. That was like my first time. So, and that's the reason why last year I went over with the opposite leg because I don't use blocks, but I used blocks last year and I went over with my opposite leg because my settings were all different. So this year I kind of switched up and practiced a little bit in the blocks and I chose the right settings, I guess, because I went over with the right leg and I go over this time and my form's great. And all I'm thinking is my mom yelling at me to get my leg down, my trail leg down fast enough. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta go. So I'm like starting to put power into my trail leg, and I'm like, okay, I feel great, and I'm just trying to catch Sydney as much as I can, and I finally catch her. I see there's not a single person in front of me. All I see is the track and everything ahead of me, and I can only see like 5 meters ahead of me at a time. I can't even see the finish line. So I'm running, and all I see is Sydney starting to gain again. And I'm like, I knew that she was going to come up because she has some random kick at the end also. And I ran, and I had this small kick at the end where I dug in deep and just barely beat her across the line. And that's kind of where I won it. And I was just like in pure relief after my race. Like all of the stress, all of everything just dropped. And it was all just like, all right, that was it. Like you defended your title, you did what you needed to do this weekend. And it was all just like, it was amazing.
Well, and that was, that was the hardest part was getting the first one. Winning the first one is always the hardest one. And the way that it happened, separated by 4/100ths of a second, yeah, that was the challenging one. But then the next one was also a challenge because you literally had to dive at the finishing line. And, not to mention the fact you had Elise Cooper into the race as well. But, I mean, we don't have to talk about necessarily the 400 again because people saw it. And if they really want to learn more about it, they can go watch our interviews at DyeStat.com. But, I got a sense after you won the 400, I was like, okay, she's two-thirds of the way there. She's arguably done two of the hardest events in track and field. The 800 is hard too, but like she's shown that she can do anything at this point. You go home that night, you say you get your legs all iced up, you're trying to relax. You wake up the next morning, you get ready for the 800. What was that, what was going through your head at that moment before you went out there to race against those really, really fast girls?
Yeah, so I got the hardest part done. Like, I think out of all three of them, if I were to pick myself, the 400 was the hardest one out of all of them because that one took the most out of me. Like, my legs were just done and I fell over. Like, I don't want to say they gave out, but they were just so tired of running at the end of that 400, they just fell over and I fell on the ground. And I literally thought I lost at that point, but I didn't even know. I turned my head and I see that I won, and then I'm preparing for the 800. And this was the least stressful thing that I've ever done. Like I was so excited to run the 800. I was like in pure joy. I've already got what I needed to. I've defended my title. That was my main goal to come back here, and I won the 400. I mean, I never expected to win the 400. That one, I thought that's where my triple was over. I thought it was over when I ran the 400. Like, I thought I wasn't going to win it when I went into it, but I was like, Natalie, you can't think that. You need to think positive. And then I thought when I was laying on the ground, I was like, this is it. My triple has ended. It's done. Like, I lost. And I turned my head and I won. And I was just in pure shock. The 800 was so much excitement, so much joy. And I was just like, all right, this is it. Like, I've done all of this, I've accomplished so much. And I don't even care what happens. I started to psych myself out like I do every single race, and I'm just like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can win. And I remember this kid walks up to me, no idea who he is, and he's like, I saw all of your races. Go out there and win the 800 because I know you can do it. And that's when I realized that all of the people in the stands were there to watch me and support me. Like they had so much more faith in me than I did myself. And I was just like I literally had goosebumps because I never saw so many people watching me, watching my stage, watching me perform. And it was just like my dad said, it was just a stage for me to go out there and perform. And that's what I did. I went out there and I showed them what I could do. And I mean, the 800, I'm on the line and I'm like, all right, I know it's going to be a battle, but I know I can do it because I have it was like the stadium was literally like screaming my name, and I'm running the race, and we get out. I'm in the lead right now. I take the cut and I'm like, okay, I need to let Ross come and take the lead so she can pace me, because I was just wanted to pace with her. And before this, we planned out like 10 different ways where to how to run the 800. And I was like, let me run the 800 and I'll kick at the last like 200 meters and beat her. And that was my goal. That was what I wanted to do. And I was like, honestly, I can't really strategize what I'm going to do until I get into the race, because I don't know what my legs are going to do. I don't know what they feel like. It's different because I already ran 2 races, so I had no idea what was going to happen. And I go out there and she takes the lead, and I see this girl on the side, like in lane 2, trying to catch and take second place from me. And I'm like, all right, I need to speed it up. I need to pick it up. I can't be in third place because my legs can't kick enough for that. And we're running. We hit the bell lap, and I'm like, all right, I can't wait any longer. I need to get to the line. I'm getting bored, and I start kicking. That's where I kick, and I'm like, all right, I cannot go back anymore. I can't go back. Like, this is it. I have to go. And I knew that day if I didn't kick that early, I wouldn't have won, because she would have outkicked me at the end. I think because she would have had so much hype, I guess, in her, like so much energy and just the crowd, like everything that was happening. So I knew I had to kick early, and I was just going for it. It was a gut move, and like no one told me that I could do that. I had to figure this out myself because no one knows how I feel. So it was the scariest move I've ever done, but I still went out there and I start kicking. And I remember I had a few band-aids on me from the last race because I had cuts all over me. And I feel the band-aid. I'm like, why did I not take this band-aid off? I'm thinking everything. And I look up at the scoreboard, and I look to see where she is, because I didn't want to look behind me and see where she was. So I look up at the scoreboard and I look and I'm like, okay, I have a little bit of distance. So I start like slowly reeling it in, but I'm not kicking to my full potential, because I was just trying to make sure that I could win. So I did slow down a little bit, which probably could have ran 159 if I didn't slow down there. I was just trying to get through the line, and like I was honestly tired, so I was like, I can't kick anymore. So I'm running, and I see this arm whip by my face. It just bam, and I'm like, crap, that's her. So I don't know, you could see it in the video, but I literally put my head down and I dig into the track for that last boost, and it boosts me to the line, and I run through it, and I'm just fully in shock. I'm speechless.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
The rest is history right there. I think what the coolest part was, and I posted this photo yesterday on the DyeStat Instagram page. It was one of your moments when you were laying down in the tunnel, and just the stone cold face that you had looking at the track. And I'm like, there's no way she's going to lose any of these races. There's
Yeah.
no way she's going to lose any of these races. So, no, as we kind of reflect on the fact that, all of this happened in the span of, less than 72 hours, what do you think is the message you're sending out to people out there saying, like, do it? Just go for it. If you have the heart, you have the courage to go do something like that, go do it. And the reward could be something
Yeah.
greater than you could have ever imagined.
I mean, my message is just it's all in the mind, and track and field is such a big mind game. You have to go out there and know that you're capable of doing this. You need to know that you're capable of winning, you're capable of running. You need to tell yourself that. You have to think like a winner. You cannot think any other way, or else you will lose. So you have to have that survival skill. You need to know that you can go out there and just win it. And that's what I had. I came out this weekend and I told myself I will not lose any of these races. I will not sit here and lose these races. I will win. And I will not come close and just lose by like a millisecond or something like that. I can't do that.
No way she can lose the race, and no way can she lose the national titles. Uh, as we keep talking about this, and I remember talking with my broadcast partner during that time. It's just like when you made that move right at the very end past Emery Ross, it was just like it was the most like inspiring thing to like witness, especially after winning the 400 hurdles first, winning the 400. And then that moment right there, I'm just like that was really the defining moment of her entire weekend is when, you know, Emery Ross goes right by her, and then Natalie's like, I can't really say that word on this broadcast, but like you went right by her. She's like, no, I cannot let this happen. So I mean, again, like congratulations, of course, on this historic feat. But as the days have gone by, the last it's been now 2 days, maybe a little over a day and a half or so since it's happened. I mean, like, what's it been like? What's the reception been like? Talking with people, and you know, um, there was this great video that was made of you. I think Sidious Meg had it. And it was just this highlight video that package, and it just like described the entire week. So you're getting the attention, but like how is it? How have you been able to handle it? Because I'm sure it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I've missed so many calls, I've missed so many messages. People have been sending me stuff that I've never even seen before of me. So I just keep getting new information about myself that I don't even know. Like it'll be like, well, Natalie's blah 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 in the world. She's this rank, this rank. Like people are sending me new things every single day, every second, every hour, and I'm like, what? I don't even know that this is possible. Like I just keep getting all these new emails, everything, and I mean, I don't even know how I can't even apologize enough to the amount of people that I've like not purposely ignored. It just happens. Like I can't read everyone's messages at this point and I've tried, but it's just hard to try and keep it in contact with so many people. And not only that, like the amount of colleges that are trying to keep up and talk to me, I'm like, I'm sorry, but I am so jam packed right now. Like,
And
I,
tired. I'm
yeah,
really tired.
yeah, like so tired. Like, I think like keeping up with social media is 10 times harder than those 3 races that I had this weekend. Like, it's been a lot, and, I mean, you said the, video that Citius Mag posted, that was just a recap of what happened. I mean, it shows so much about what happened, but, honestly, you had to be there to see everything, like, all of it, and that captured a good amount, but it didn't capture the experience that everyone else in the stands got to see.
It would have been awesome, had we known, what was going to transpire. And of course, we can never predict things, but like
Yeah,
having a camera like follow you around and like see like the behind the scenes stuff, like, all right, like this is how she was before the 400 hurdles. This was like how she was after, like, and he like following you around the like. I think that would be such a cool like
yeah,
moment. Just like I think for like any athlete, and of course, I'm sure you've seen like Jane Hedengren been able to do what she's been able to do on the distance side, and there's conversation, of course, like, well, she's the clear favorite to win the athlete of the year award, but it's like, shoot, should we throw Natalie Dumas now
yeah.
into the conversation for what she was able to do? But um, girls high school track as a whole has elevated so much over the last couple of years. Like, what are your thoughts on it, and just how you've been able to contribute to it?
I mean, honestly, everyone's talking about track inflation, and that's just what's happening. I mean, it's scary to me. It's scary to I think almost every athlete, and the competition to try and keep up with this. It's hard. Every single day I run a new time, and it just gets beat the next day. So it's been a lot. I mean, I think all athletes are just amazing for putting up with the sport, working hard, and just continuing to run the way they do. And all of these girls are just improving, and it really, really like just scares me what's going to happen in the future because these times are just out of the world.
We witnessed a middle schooler run 51:60 at the Brooks PR Invitational, which I'm sure you were not happy about having a slower time than she did at that meet. But to your point, we are seeing it at, at all sorts of different levels. And not to mention the fact that Natalie is only a junior this season, folks. She's got another year of high school track remaining. And we're excited to see what she does next year. Natalie, I know I've taken a lot of your time out of your day. I know at the beginning of this, I said we would go about 40 minutes, but I'm glad we've talked for over an hour
Yeah.
or so because not only have we learned about from your journey from back when you first started this sport, but just like what you've overcome, just like being able to like handle the stress of being an elite level athlete, and kind of just telling yourself like you ignore like all those voices in your head. It's like, know what, I'm just going to go do what Natalie does, which is go fight for every win, go put my body on the line, just like go make everyone proud out there. And so I definitely think there's a lot to be proud of. I hope you're proud of what you were able to accomplish
Thank you.
this weekend, because it's been crazy. It's been crazy to watch over the last, gosh, like 3-4 days or so. I had to go back and watch a replay of your races again. And I'm just like, wow, like I can't believe that actually just happened. So,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you've gone back and watched some of your races.
Yeah. I have. I've made my entire family watch it on the TV. I've broadcasted it, showed everyone, and I mean, I think my entire family tree has seen it by now.
Yeah. I'm also biased towards the broadcaster that said that was the greatest triple in high school history. Oh, that's because it was me that said that. So, but Natalie Dumas, the unprecedented triple completed this past weekend at New Balance Nationals Outdoor. I can assume your season is over with. No thoughts of potentially going to USA's at all, or
I,
maybe?
you might see me out there. Maybe there's a chance. I don't have a plan as of right now. I'm just going out there and seeing what I could do. I have a meet this weekend. It's Thursday and Saturdays. I will be running in that. And then I don't know. You might see me there.
We might see Natalie Dumas at USATF Outdoors at the end of July and August, but as you know, a lot of high school athletes have been able to compete at that championships, and maybe Natalie Dumas is the next one. So, Natalie, again, as I said, congratulations on all the success. I really appreciate your time hopping on this episode of DyeStat Discussions. Good luck with this meet on Thursday, but also, if we do see you at USA's, hopefully, whether it's the 800, the 400 hurdles, the 400, we cannot wait to see what that is, and wish you nothing but the best. So congratulations on a very, very fun last weekend in Philadelphia. Good luck the rest of the outdoor season, and hopefully we can catch up real soon.
Thank you so much.